Hey, welcome to episode 218, episode 218 of Awkwardly Awesome Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Freeman. This episode is entitled Unforeseen Romance. And the phrase that literally came to me before I hit record was everyday extraordinary. Everyday extraordinary. And yes, it came to me because I've heard phrases like that before, but Lindsey and Chris, who are going to be on soon, embody that to me. They they've had things in their lives like we all do. Temptations to let their life be really ordinary and kind of bleak, but they chose the route of creating an extraordinary and very exciting life and lives full of service. And I've never done this before, but I wrote a poem for this episode just before we got on. It's a simple poem. Please don't be too critical. And it goes like this. I'll read a trace. Romance and service. Romance and service and making life work and thriving and appreciation. Romance and service. Romance and service and making life work and thriving and appreciation. So I'll be back to tell you more about these two extraordinary people, but first this.
Today's guest, Lindsey Madsen and Chris Sandvig.
Well, welcome back. Let me tell you more about Lindsey and Chris. The stars aligned at Lake Shetek for Lindsey Madsen and Chris Sandvig. They were in the right Minnesota place at the right Minnesota time for magic to spark. Needless to say, they fell in love. This was not anticipated. Lindsey was busy developing her career, serving a wonderful nonprofit, and raising her children alone, one of whom experiences special needs. Chris was busy developing his love for playing music and his career supporting homeless teenagers. Love just didn't seem like it was on the table. Chris and Lindsey were simply colleagues working together on an innovative program to help homeless youth. They were growing into the best versions of themselves. Unbeknownst to Chris and Lindsey, they spent years creating the possibility for their romance to happen organically. Without further ado or further chit chat, please welcome to Awkwardly Awesome Podcast, Chris and Lindsey. Yay!
Hey, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us today. We're excited to chat with you.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. I love to start my guests often with this question. If I had known you both at let's say between the ages of 7 and 10, and asked you what you wanted to do with your life when you grew up, what would you have said?
Oh, I have that documented actually. In
I love that you have a document.
Yep. I had it documented. My mom had a picture book and had those questions. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I don't remember exactly, but in between those ages, I wanted to be a singer, a rancher, and a policeman, and a magician. So I got the singer part. The other ones, not so much. A little bit of the rancher, living on a farm, but yeah, I got the singer part.
Mm-hmm.
What did you love about the idea of being a magician?
A magician?
Yeah.
It was fun, the mystery of how they did the tricks. I thought it was actually magic. I didn't know what an illusion was. I thought it was real magic. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I think that was probably short-lived. I thought the singer part was a little cooler.
What did you love as a kid about the idea of being a singer?
As a kid, I just remember, riding around in, whether it was my dad's pickup or in the car, listening to the radio and enjoying music, so I wanted to do what they did. I remember telling my mom once, I was trying to think of names for a band, but I said all the names were taken because all I could think of were bugs, like beetles and things like that. Bugs and animals like the monkeys or whatever, because that's some of the stuff my parents were listening to. And I'm like, there's no more names left. So
Life is full of obstacles, and that was a minor obstacle. That there were no more names left.
Right.
How
I
about
eventually
you?
figured out more.
Nice. How about you, Lindsey? If I had known you between ages 7 and 10, what would you have said?
I would have told you that I wanted to be an actress, for sure. An actress / stay-at-home mom. That was kind of always my vision for myself, was to be at home with my kids and go to lunches with my girlfriends and have an acting career.
First of all, what did you love about the idea of staying home with your kids?
I have some traditional values that have just always been with me. I think that kids belong with their moms when they're young. Their moms are the best person to raise them, I think, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I, a little bit of my story. I was blessed to be able to do that for 5 years with my own kids, and it was a huge blessing. It was a lot of work, but a huge blessing. So, yeah. That was what I wanted to do when I was little too. So it's wonderful that both Chris and I had a few of our dreams come true.
Well, when you say that's a lot of work, it is I have never raised kids, but it seems like a lot of work, and you can't just tell them, just go off and do your thing for a few hours and
Right. There
kids aren't
isn't
into.
a lunch break, there isn't clocking out at the end of the day. It is full time all day, every day, sun up, sundown, middle of the night. But the most rewarding job you can have, as they say. Yeah.
What were some of the Speak, Jason, speak. What were some of the rewards you experienced from
Just watching the kids develop into the people that they are. I mean, truly just watching them, truly watching my youngest be able to reach those developmental milestones was huge, but also watching my oldest learn guitar, watching my daughter go to dance lessons and really develop her passion for the arts and gain friendships. And, those are the things that I wouldn't have been able to witness had I gone to work right away.
it must be just totally miraculous. You start off with a tiny baby, just less than, just so small, and single digit pounds, and then they grow into a person. I mean, what's that like?
It is incredible, Jason, but I will tell you, they are all so different. You don't know what to expect from one to the next. My oldest was by far my biggest challenge. And that might come as a surprise to people, given that my youngest has some pretty considerable needs. But my oldest, when he was a baby, was my biggest challenge. And as the years went by, he became easier and easier. But as a young one, he was my biggest challenge. So when I had the other two, they were easy peasy. And I feel like God had that plan for me. He's like, I'm going to give you these challenges early on. It's going to get better. My oldest had colic. He really struggled as a baby. He didn't sleep through the night for about 18 months. So
What? Did you say 18 months?
yes.
That's like a year and a half.
Yes,
Holy
that
cow.
is like a year and a half, Jason. Yes, I did not sleep through the night for 18 months.
Chris, do you sleep through the night?
Do I sleep through the night? Yes.
No, I mean when you were a baby.
Apparently I was pretty colicky also.
I think I was too.
Yeah. So I gave my parents a hard time. And I was the first child.
First child of how many? I haven't ever asked you that.
I have two siblings. I have a younger sister and a younger brother.
Oh, cool. And did you grow up in like a big city, Chris, like New York City or Chicago?
No, I grew up on a farm south of Canton.
So what was the closest town to you?
Closest town was Canton, South Dakota. It was about
it was closer than Fairview.
I guess I never considered Fairview a real town. I mean, it's kind of a town. It's a community, but Fairview technically, I think, is closer. But
and about how big is Fairview?
Oh, I don't know, 50 people maybe.
Yeah, I would just want to give people a sense.
Yeah.
And where you grew up, and Lindsey, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Brandon, so.
And how would you describe Brandon?
So Brandon is a suburb of Sioux Falls, both small towns, but Brandon, when I lived there, had less than 5,000 people.
Wow.
So very small town. The kids I went to elementary school with are the same kids I graduated with. We grew up together, K through 12, and for the most part, everyone was friends, and it was kind of an idealistic way to grow up. We lived close to the pool, went to the pool every day in the summer, rode our bikes everywhere, played night games in the summer with friends, had sleepovers every night, and it really was an amazing place to grow up.
So you guys, I meant to look this up, but your homes growing up were probably, what, 30 minutes by car apart or 45?
It took about 40 minutes to drive from the farm to Brandon.
How do you know that, Chris?
I made quite a few drives to Brandon. I dated a few girls from Brandon. So I know exactly how long it takes to get from the farm to Brandon.
He says the best looking girls live in Brandon.
It's a fact. It's true.
It's a fact. Life is so interesting. You both grew up exactly, I guess, about 40 minutes from each other. Thank you, Chris, for the exact number.
Yeah.
In the big city between you, Sioux Falls, you both would have gone to the same Empire Mall, just different places in town. But you both didn't know each other until much later in life.
Correct. She would have been a little kid when I was walking around the mall.
So we are 14 years apart. We have a 14-year age difference. So it's, he wasn't.
It would have been illegal for me to be talking to her at that time.
We were not on each other's radars when he was cruising the streets of Brandon. But yes, certainly, later in life we did manage to meet up, and we met up a few times before we finally had a proper introduction in 2021. We did meet a couple times, but it just wasn't the right timing for us.
So one of the first times I think you said you met was you wanted to ask, or you asked Chris to offer you guitar lessons. Do I have that right?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm still not sure who added who on Facebook.
She added me.
I added him. I'm guessing it's because he had a guitar in his profile photo, or he obviously is good looking. So I probably just added him, a good looking guitar player. I had recently purchased a guitar and was looking for a guitar teacher. And so it could be that I saw him play. I honestly don't know what prompted me to add a stranger, because I typically don't add strangers on social media. But needless to say, I messaged him. I asked him if he gave guitar lessons. And what did you say to me?
I said, no, I do not.
No. Okay, well, never mind.
So Chris, so this is a business person's dream, kind of, to like you were offering lessons and a client contacts and a potential client contacts you out of the blue for lessons, but you said no. Wow, what went into that no?
Well, part of it was I wasn't necessarily giving guitar lessons to anybody.
But, so you weren't in the business. I just made that up.
Yeah, right. No, I wasn't really in the business of that. But the bigger reason was at the time I had just started dating somebody else. And I figured when she had messaged me, I saw her picture and I thought she was cute. And I'm like, no, that's a bad recipe to indulge in, even if it was just guitar lessons. So
part of that no was upholding your values, huh, Chris?
Correct.
So then, so that the guitar lesson thing was a bust for you two meeting. So what happened next? I mean, I assume you've met because you're talking to me now.
Yeah, I mean, and then we had kind of run into each other another time. She was on a date with somebody. and I was there with the person I was seeing at the time at the restaurant. And I just remember at the time I noticed her, and I remembered her that she was the one that asked me for guitar lessons. But of course I didn't say anything to her, but I just remember I didn't particularly think she was with a great guy at the time.
And that was true.
So I mean, this story is going by slowly. So far, Chris said no to guitar lessons the first time you guys had the potential meeting. The next time, Chris didn't think you were with a great guy. So when do you meet next?
The next time we met, really, I think was at work. I mean, I had noticed through some email communication, I saw her name, and again, I remembered who she was, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I remember this person asking for guitar lessons years back. But then it was this time, or a little before this time of year, is Spirit Tree season, is December. I think December 21st.
We know the date. We looked back and figured out the date that we actually met.
Yeah.
And yes. So Spirit Tree is just a program that we have at Volunteers of America Dakotas, where we gather gifts from all over the community, gifts for our participants in every program. And so I work for months to get these gifts ready. And I tell you what, at the end of this whole initiative, we are just on a Christmas high, Jason. We are like just high on Christmas. People are full of gratitude. The program leaders come and they pick up these gifts for their participants, and they are so grateful, so happy. And so that's where Chris comes in. He comes in the door. He's here to pick up his gifts. I walk up to him with a big, cheerful smile, shake his hand, make my introduction. And what do you say back?
Thanks. Nice to meet you. Where's my gifts? Or where are the gifts?
It was just a straight shooter. He was there for one purpose. It was not to schmooze around with me. It was to pick up the gifts and get out of there. He had places to be.
I don't schmooze.
Yeah.
I don't. But I mean, and part of it was I remembered who she was, and I thought she was very beautiful, and that made me a little bit nervous. But the other part of it is at work, I'm all business usually. I don't schmooze or screw around or whatever. So yeah, I was kind of like, I just need to get these gifts and get back to the building.
And I just thought, okay, yep, that's how this guy is. All right.
Made an impression.
He did. Yeah. I'm going to have to win this one over, I guess.
Can't make it easy.
Nope.
So this is a major aside, but so you did Spirit Tree again this year. How many years have you been involved with Spirit Tree, Lindsey?
And this was my 4th year. Mm-hmm.
And how many gifts how many people did you guys collect gifts for this year?
I'm not sure how many people, because our participant, the number that we serve really ranges at any given time, but the number of gifts averages around 1,600 each year.
Did you say 1,600?
Mm-hmm. It's really incredible. The outpouring of support that from our community and our partners is just absolutely incredible, unbelievable sometimes. It's a huge blessing to the organization and those we serve.
I mentioned at the beginning of the show the term everyday extraordinary. And this occurs to me as an example of everyday extraordinary.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. We live in a very, very generous community, and each season, each December, our participants are able to have a little bit brighter holiday as a result of the generosity of our community. It's really incredible.
A little bit brighter, maybe hugely brighter, maybe the gift they get makes the whole year. I mean,
Could be. I mean, the gifts that they receive could be the only gift that they receive all year long. So it's a pretty big deal. And we make it a big deal for that reason.
Lindsey does a lot of work during that season.
Yeah, so I'm coming down off my busy season. I'll be delivering cupcakes to all the partners today, actually. So we've got 25 dozen cupcakes sitting in my car right now.
Did you say 25 dozen?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just this is such a win-win-win-win. The people who contribute gifts get the satisfaction of going beyond themselves and doing something nice. The participants, of course, get Christmas, and then did you say partners or sponsors? No,
Our partners. Yeah, we call them our community partners.
And then they get not only cupcakes, but they get appreciation.
Of course, yes. We are deeply grateful for the participation of all of our partners and their willingness to support our participants through the holiday season this way. It's a huge deal.
Are these partners mostly businesses?
Mostly businesses and retail partners.
So when we watch the news generally, there's ideas that people aren't kind. There's ideas that businesses aren't kind. But what you are saying right now is both of those ideas. They don't hold up.
I'm blessed to have a different point of view because I work with businesses every single day that their sole function is to give to organizations just like Volunteers of America Dakotas. It's incredible.
I love this. This is inspiring. But we're still not. Chris and Lindsey, we're still not quite getting to the inspiring part of I'm not really sensing sparks flying yet in terms of your romance at all.
I would love to maybe transition into that by just saying after Chris and I met, I did feel like I needed to form a more solid relationship with him. After we met, it wasn't long after that I was promoted in my role into more of a donor-focused role. And with that, I was made the liaison of the Access 180 program. And so as the liaison, I would be bringing donors and other community partners over to Access 180 to learn more about the program, to get to know the program, the staff, and to figure out ways to engage with them. And
okay. Thanks for leading us there.
Yeah,
we're going to get the whole story out, but there's a lot of parts that need to be fleshed out.
right.
So Chris, what's Access 180?
So Access 180, it's an independent living program, transitional living program for youth 16 to 21. They're all homeless youth. So they stay at Access 180. We encourage them to stay there for a year and a half. They're not required to. It's a voluntary program. But each youth gets their own apartment. They do pay rent, but they get all the rent back once they leave the program. So it's kind of a savings for them. So it's something to help them get back on their feet, get out of the cycle of homelessness that a lot of them have been in. Whether it's their parents or even just themselves, getting themselves into certain situations. But we serve 21 youth, and we're full with a waiting list. So there's a lot of them out there.
Talking to you, I guess only twice before this, but I know Access 180 isn't only a job for you.
Correct.
You have a heart for your program. When did it become more than just a job to you?
I think, honestly, I've been working with teenagers since 1995. So long before Access 180, just working with teenagers in different capacities, whether it's with behavioral issues or addiction issues or homelessness. It became less of a job a long time ago. And so it's just kind of been transitioning to different areas to help them with. And for a big part of my career, and I still am a licensed addictions counselor. But I was practicing, in outpatient and inpatient settings for a good portion of my career. And then coming over to Access 180 has been really cool because I get to see kind of the other side of it, where maybe they've gone through treatment or maybe they do need to get in treatment, but I get to see the youth on a daily basis and can help them kind of navigate that, in their regular daily lives.
Well, so you work really closely with youth. What about the youth of this generation, you work with, really inspires you?
I think, just having them where they have this potential, you can see it. I've always gravitated working with youth over adults, and it's not that adults don't have potential, but when you catch them at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, you have a chance to really help them make a change in their life, to navigate around certain obstacles that maybe we can see, but they don't see them yet, So just having that opportunity to get in that early with somebody to help them, make better decisions, to try to, whether it's addiction things or whether it's something simple as how to get a job. It's really rewarding when we see youth successfully complete the program.
And talk about a ripple effect, because the youth, many of them will likely have kids, they'll hold jobs, they'll interact with a lot of people. What they experience in your program just will keep rippling out through their lives in different ways, it seems like.
Absolutely. They, part of it is them getting out of their own cycle of possibly their family. And then, like you said, many of them, and some of them already have kids that we serve, so they're not transferring that same cycle onto their own children. But again, yeah, who the other people that they're hanging out with, their friends, how their change can impact somebody else around them. And oftentimes we get referrals made by youth that we had served to other youth, and they end up coming into our program because one of the youth that were in our program said, "Hey, check this out. This is a cool place to live."
What a compliment to get referrals from youth. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome when it happens.
So Lindsey, you and Chris are working together on Access 180 now. So So
Mhm.
what happens next?
So, I would come by Axis 180 a few times a year, maybe a little more than quarterly. So we didn't work with each other a whole lot. But in between visits to work, again, I'm still trying to build a relationship with him. I knew that he and I were going to need to play nice together in order for these engagement opportunities to happen for our community partners. And so I would go to his gigs on the weekend if I saw that he was playing, which he does a great job of advertising his music. That always caught my attention on my social media. If I saw that he was playing somewhere and I had the availability, I would go to his gigs, and I always enjoyed them. I'd always message him afterward, which he gives me crap for now. He says that's I don't know. He gives me crap for it, but I loved his music, and that was really a connector for me. I started to look at him maybe a little bit differently after I heard his music a few times, because I'm like, dang, he plays everything I listen to. I know every word to every song he's playing. And he plays some songs that are a little bit more obscure. So it connected me to him a little bit more. I noticed in my interactions with him at work, I felt more comfortable with him. So we started to connect in ways that were unexpected, as you say. So over the years, it started to accumulate. I maybe went to a handful of gigs before we finally decided to make this a thing.
So what were the circumstances of the Lake Shetek concert?
So with Lake Shetek, when I was playing there, we had started seeing each other.
Like we had just started hanging out.
Yeah, not too long before that.
Oh, were you hanging out romantically before that?
With the intentions of that, yeah.
It was moving in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew that's what I wanted anyway. So
I was still feeling it out, Jason.
Yeah. So I had invited her to come up to Lake Shetek. I was playing at Pelican Cove, a bar on the lake, and
so this is a lake in southwestern Minnesota for people who don't.
Yep.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, and my previous experience with Lake Shetek, I mean, I had played there a few times before, but that's actually the lake where I went to Bible camp when I was a kid. So it was, kind of always a special place to me.
Wow.
So yeah, I had invited her to come up, and so when I'm playing a gig, I'm, up playing most of the night. So she was, well, at the beginning sitting by herself, but then she had talked to some other people there that she met. And, something that I would have done. I would have sat there by myself the whole night if I was in that.
I make friends. I just,
I don't.
So. Yeah, you do. Lindsey, you just came up to me after a conference and started talking. You do just reach out and make friends.
I do.
Which is awesome.
I'm so glad I did, Jason. Oh my goodness.
So she came up and sat and listened and socialized with the people that she met. I think, that's where, for me to look out there and see her sitting there listening to my music in that context, gave me a different feeling. And that's where I, was falling in love.
What was that night like for you, Lindsey?
It was similar, but from my point of view, it was sitting there, again, listening to him play all my favorite songs. And he has such a beautiful voice, and he makes the songs his own. I mean, I remember the song he was playing, and it's not even it's not even really a love song, but I remember the song he was playing when I could feel myself literally starting to fall in love. And I started taking a video. He was playing Maggie May. Maggie May.
Yeah, that's definitely not a love
Not
song.
a love song. And I took a snap video, and I sent it to my work group, my supervisor and my colleague. We're all dear friends and we send videos all the time. And I said in the video, I go, "Oh my gosh, you guys, I think I'm falling in love with Chris Sandvig." And we never say his first name alone. We always called him Chris Sandvig, like Chris Sandvig from work. And I just remember my supervisor's reply was, can you not fall in love with someone from work? That would be great. You know? But yeah, it was just something came over me. I fell deeply in love. Nothing could have stopped it. I've never felt anything like it.
So needless to say, you did not heed your supervisor's advice.
I did not, Jason. I did not. It would have been impossible to not fall in love with him that night, though. It was July 3rd. It was the most gorgeous summer night. There was a full moon on the lake. There were fireworks happening all over the lake. There were fireflies. It was like the most beautiful, mystical, special night ever. And that just happened to be the night that we fell in love.
And out of all the songs in the world that Chris could be playing, he was playing the songs that meant something deep to you. That's mysterious. That
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you just think of the last lines of that song. Maggie, I wish I'd never.
I know.
I wasn't thinking of Maggie May in particular, but how do you even comprehend that? Chris, you were playing the song that resonated deeply with Lindsey. How does that happen?
Well, I mean, I just put that up to fate. You know, it's kind of, I don't know. It just was meant to be. You know, I don't. You know, there wasn't any conscious intention on I'm going to play this song or that song or this song or this song. You know, I just went up and did my thing, and it resonated.
Which means you had confidence to do your thing, which means you were actively promoting it on Facebook, which that means so much that a lot of people play instruments and sing in private, but it takes something to get on stage time after time and practice your craft in front of people.
Yeah, and it took me some time to get up to that point. You know, I had gone from doing what you just said, playing in my room and not playing for many people, to playing in bands with other guys, and eventually doing the solo thing.
Changing subjects, there's so much to cover here. Lindsey, you briefly mentioned that your youngest son has some unique needs. Would you please say a little more about him, or talk a little more about him?
Sure. So, excuse me, Cade is a 12-year-old boy who loves all things Special Olympics, basketball, swimming, soccer, loves goofy things on TV, and loves puzzles. And he also happens to have a rare disease called FOXP1 syndrome. He was one of the first 10 people in the entire world diagnosed with this disease. So when we found out about it, we had no idea what to expect. I can tell you that this disease presents with symptoms that look like global developmental delays. So he did not walk until, after the age of 3.5, 4. He did not begin speaking with any sort of fluency until well after the age of 4. His speech patterns are not like yours and mine. He speaks, with 2 to 4 word sentences roughly. So pretty severe speech impairment, autistic traits, and then some behavioral abnormalities that go along with this. He also has some additional symptoms that are not part of the FOXP1 diagnosis, but are just an additional part of who he is. And so with those extra symptoms, Cade has actually been written about, and his case has been published in the American Journal of Medical Genetics. Kind of a weird brag to have, but my kid is published in the American Journal of Medical Genetics. You'll see his sweet face right in there.
Hashtag weird brag.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, Cade is who he is, and he is a pure joy.
What was it like to when he walked his first steps?
His first steps were not like the average baby's first steps. It took many, many, many months of physical therapy. It took, years, truly. He's been in physical therapy since he was 3 months old. It took gait trainers. It took standers. It took SMOs on his ankles. It wasn't like, oh, you took your first steps and now you're going to walk. It was, okay, you're going to take a step today and you might not take a step again for weeks. It was the slowest process ever, Jason, but we learned early on not to think of these as milestones, but as inch stones. Every little thing that he accomplished were inch stones to meet those milestones.
And I might tear up when I ask you this, but what has Cade taught you about life? How has Cade enhanced your life?
Well, aside from teaching me to just stop caring so much about what others think, he's taught me a lot of patience. He's taught me that things will happen in due time. And that God truly does have a plan for us. He's taught me that everything happens for a divine reason. And it's not going to be according to our plan, it's according to God's plan. And trusting in that plan is the hardest part of this whole thing on earth, I think, trusting in the plan. But his pure joy, Cade's pure joy, has just shown it's opened a door that I didn't know existed. Unconditional and true love comes from me now. I didn't know that before I had him. That's a sad thing to say. I had 2 children before I had Cade, and of course I loved them. Of course I nurtured them. But I loved them in a way that in the way that I was loved as a child, which was likely a little conditional. That was how I was loved. Now I know it in a way. I have no expectations of this child. This child cannot perform for me, and I love him no matter what.
You said Cade's pure joy opened a door that I didn't know existed. Cade's pure joy opened a door that I didn't know existed. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is. It is night and day from what my life was 15 years ago.
So Kate, I mean, you've spent so much time mothering him and helping him, of course. But would you say he's helped you transform your life?
Oh, 100%. Yes. Yes. His presence has helped transform my life, and I give the credit to God, of course, and absolutely, he's changed our world. I think
Mm.
he's changed my kids' lives too. I think that they don't take things for granted. My daughter's always had a really giving and sweet spirit, but she and her brother are thick as thieves. If he needs something, she's on it. She's she's kind of his advocate, and maybe not enemy, but they're still brother and sister too. So they still have little tips here and there. It's pretty entertaining.
Awesome. So so much. So you two are now engaged, right?
Yes.
How did that happen?
So that we
Or
go
is
back.
it top secret?
Oh no, not top secret. That's again, we go back to Lake Shetek. So I wanted to go back to the place where we fell in love, and so I, and we had looked at rings, so we had done that.
So Lindsey, you kind of knew what was going to happen.
I knew that we would be engaged eventually. I didn't know when or how, but I knew I was going to marry this fella.
Okay, so Chris, please continue.
So yeah, I saw that they were going to have a band that was going to be playing up at Pelican Cove at Lake Shetek, and it was kind of a variety band that played music from probably all decades, So, and they kind of dress up like the original singers and all that kind of stuff. So it was going to be fun. I didn't realize how many people were going to be there. I thought it was just going to be, just a decent crowd or whatever. But when we pulled into Lake Shetek, I saw cars lining the streets and people walking. I'm like, oh, this is way bigger than what I thought. And there was a ton of people at this show. And the whole time I had taken the ring because I had a whole plan of what I was going to do. And it was in my pocket, not in a box, just the ring in my pocket. So the whole time I kept checking, it's there. It's there. I got to make sure it's there. And, she didn't know anything about it, but in my head, I'm continuously checking my pocket to make sure the ring did not disappear or fall out, or I took my wallet out or something and the ring plopped out. So, so that was on my mind the whole time. But we had a really good time at the show. And then after the band quit, we went off. There's like a little point, and it's where we had, went and looked at the stars and the fireflies and the moon. So we walked back out there. That's when, I got down on my knee and I asked her to marry me. And she said yes.
How long ago was that?
So that was last May, end of May.
And do you have a date yet for when you're getting married?
We're still trying to, kind of narrow that down, but we're really looking to this coming September.
Oh, cool. Wonderful. So, thinking back to the teenagers you work with Chris, and in the program you help with Lindsey. If a teenager came up to you and said, I'm all nervous about romance. I don't know where my life is going to go. I don't know how to relate to the opposite to people I'm romantically interested in. What would you both tell them?
I would tell them wait till they're 50.
No, are you 50, Chris?
I'm 53.
I'm 50. You are really inspiring me right now because you look a lot younger than that. So, and then you've also met someone. So so you're inspiring me right now. Thank you.
You bet. But what I would tell, I mean, and I've had teenagers come and talk about, they're dating this person or that person or whatever. Probably one of the biggest things that I'll talk to them about is, where are they in their own life? Do they have their own stuff together? Because until you really get that, it's hard to have a good relationship with somebody else if you're bringing somebody else into your mess, if you don't have a handle on it. And a lot of the youth that I work with, they're not quite at that point yet. So I see a lot of times they make not the best decisions with their relationships. And it's not saying don't have any type of relationship, but it is, just kind of reminding them, and this goes for anybody, whether it's youth or adults, is, try to get your own life in order. And it doesn't have to be perfect or anything like that, but just manageable, if you're going to bring somebody else into it.
What would you add to that, Lindsey?
On top of that fantastic advice, I would say get very, very clear about what you want in the relationship and just in the other person. What does your ideal future spouse look like, feel like? What does this relationship feel like? Something I did when I was single was I meditated on it. I wasn't a Christian yet. I didn't pray on it, but I meditated on it. And I wrote everything down that I thought my future husband should be. And it's pretty surprising. I mean, I'll look back at that piece of paper. I'll look back at my little notes in my phone, and it's pretty cool how things can align.
I'm not tall, though. That was on the list.
He's not tall. It's the only thing he didn't have. He's not tall. That's okay. He had everything else.
Wonderful. I ask all my guests this. What does doing your imperfect best mean to you? And first, let me tell you what it means to me. It means that I envision the best I want for my life, and I want to contribute to the world. Then I go for that. But mistakes and obstacles often come up. Instead of using those mistakes and obstacles as a reason to quit, I try to learn from them and keep moving forward. What does doing your imperfect best mean to you, Chris?
Yeah. Do you know why some of the best music recorded is old music? It's because it's imperfect. That's one of the things that you miss out on newer recordings because of everything they can do to make it exactly perfect. But some of the best things in life are imperfect, so that's why if you go listen to a Beatles recording or Rolling Stones or something that you go back a ways, and the ways they recorded it, it was not perfect, but is awesome. So I think I enjoy imperfection. I enjoy things that aren't just perfect, because through imperfection you see a lot of uniqueness, and that uniqueness, whether it's in a relationship or with a person or with an environment, that's what makes it special. So that's, I guess, kind of how I see it.
Yes. Okay.
It was wonderful. Thanks, Chris. What does doing your imperfect best mean to you, Lindsey?
Well, as a recovering perfectionist, doing my imperfect best really just means doing the thing without having all of the conditions met. So for me, things used to have to be perfect in order for me to get something done. Now I know I need to just do the thing, get it done. It's still going to be okay. The stars are not always going to align. And life's not always fair, but it's still good. And your work or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish can still be good. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be good.
Oh gosh, I feel so uplifted by talking with both of you for now, and I imagine all who listen will too. Thank you both for just being amazing people, for serving all the people you serve, for being kind, for being loving, for pursuing music, just for being amazing people, and congratulations on being engaged and your wedding, upcoming wedding, and thank you.
Thank you for having us, Jason, and giving us the opportunity to tell our story.
Yeah, and thank you for being amazing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Cool. You're welcome. Life is amazing, huh? Thank you.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wasn't that just really fun and inspiring? Please tune in next week for another awkwardly awesome podcast conversation. I learn so much from these conversations and always get inspired. This is a truly great job I have, a great part of my job. Hope you find these conversations valuable and meaningful. And please leave comments if you want. We love comments. Talk to you all later. And smile.